I'm going to reveal to you today the exact objection handling framework that made me over $5,000 in the last week as a 16-year-old entrepreneur. So I like to call this framework the SMART handling framework, the SMART framework. Now bear in mind, you do not need to use this framework every single time or use the entire framework in your objection handling process. This is a tool which you can use when the situation calls for it. So not every single time, just when the situation is appropriate. Okay. Now, if you're hammering down a nail, don't use a saw, use a hammer. Now, with that being said, this framework will guide your responses to prospects. It's going to cover these essentials, right? Lack of structure, emotional reactivity, surface level response, failure to build or maintain trust, and over-reliance on sales scripts. If you're struggling with those 5 things, then this is the video for you. Right, so let's get straight into it. So this is the SMART framework. So S is for similes, M is for metaphors, A is for analogies, R is for riddles, and T is for truth. Now you might be thinking like, is this an English class or something from grade 10? No, like we're getting some frameworks like metaphors and similes, but like we're implementing them into sales. So at the end of the day, helping you make more money. And you might be thinking like, that doesn't sound like any objection handling technique, or that sounds stupid, I'm going back in high school or whatever. Right? And you're right, right? You're just looking at it from the surface level, just like looking at it from here. Right? It looks stupid, it looks dumb. But if you get into the details, which I'm going to show you on this video, you're going to realize that when you use this framework, it's going to work with any type of prospect and in any industry. Like it really will, right? And it won't have you putting on like a fake persona, using fake report. It's going to be genuinely you being authentic to the prospect and still getting a close. So here's the entire framework, right? As for similes, you may be asking, what are similes? Well, similes are basically comparing one thing to another by using the words or phrases like or as. So the purpose of a simile is to simplify a complex objection to make it relatable and simple to the prospect. Let's run this through in real time. So let's say the prospect has the objection, well, this product seems complicated to use. Here's your response. It's like learning to ride a bike. It's always awkward at first, but second nature once you get the hang of it. That's an example of a simile. Second thing, another objection which they may have is, I'm afraid it's not going to work for me. This is how you respond. Think of it like planting a seed. Consistent effort leads to results. All it is nurturing. Simple as that. Like you see how simple that is. You see how like using similes is just, it can break down like complex objections, just make them seem so simple. Like for example, it seems complicated. Like for example, we talk about the analogy of learn to ride a bike, because basically everyone is going through the process of, trying and failing until they finally got, the hang of it. And exactly the same with planting a seed, because it takes time. You plant a seed in the ground. You can't expect it to grow in like a week. You consistently nurture it with water and stuff and sunlight and stuff, and that's when it starts growing, and that's consistent effort as well. And just a fun fact, Alex Hormozi loves using this framework in his sales training. So if Alex Hormozi is using it, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be as well. And then the second thing is metaphors. So the purpose of metaphors is to reframe objections with a powerful image or metaphor that resonates emotionally. Let's run this through in real time. So let's say the objection is, it's too expensive. Here's how you can respond. Think of it as an investment in your toolbox. You're building a foundation that pays off over time. And you see how you use that? Investment in your toolbox. Like, it's a really, really good analogy right there, right? Because invest in the toolbox, you're not going to get results straight away. It pays off over time. Another objection could be, I've tried things like this before and they don't work. Or a response to that could be, it's like switching coaches. Sometimes the right guidance makes all the difference. And you see the power of metaphors. These are really, really powerful as well. Now, the third thing in the SMART framework, the A, is analogies or parables. Analogies use comparisons or stories with lessons. They convey a powerful emotional message. The purpose of these is to use stories or comparisons to demonstrate the value of overcoming objections. For example, the objection could be, it's a very, very common one. The most common objection I've had is, I don't have time. Here's how you can respond. Let me share a quick story with you right now, right? So one of my clients actually thought the exact same thing, but then they realized it was like sharpening an axe before cutting a tree. It saves more time in the long run. You see how we use that analogy of sharpening an axe before cutting a tree? Right? Everyone knows that as an analogy, right? You want to sharpen the axe before you cut it, or for longer than you cut it. So you need more training, or whatever your program is, you can tie it into that. And another really, really common objection is, I need to think about it. So here's how you can respond to it. This reminds me of someone hesitating to cross a bridge because they're unsure of what's on the other side. Sometimes you just have to take that first step, right? And just you can like keep on going on with that based on what your program is. Look, I don't know what your program is, right? But you can basically infer, just use that, just imply that. The fourth thing is riddles. So the R is riddles. Look, riddles don't come to a stated answer like the previous two, right? They're gonna get the prospect to start questioning themselves. And the purpose of this is to challenge the prospect's thinking with thought-provoking questions or just puzzles to shift their perspective. So let's say they had the objection of, I need to talk to someone else first. Another really common objection. Here's how you can respond. If they asked you, what made you excited about this? What would you say? Now, what this does is the question that makes the prospect think what they said. Think over what they said. And another objection is, it's not a priority right now. And then you can just say, what if the thing holding you back today becomes the regret of tomorrow? Again, another way of using riddles, you're questioning themselves. They're questioning their own thinking. They're questioning what they asked. Another really, really powerful analogy. And the fifth part of the framework, the T, is truth. God forbid you ever have to use this one, because if you do, then you're gonna get the deal closed. But yeah, the purpose of this is to call out the core issue respectfully and present it with the unvarnished truth. For example, the objection could be, I'm not ready. Well, here's how you can respond. The truth is, waiting rarely makes things easier. It just delays the result you're looking for. Again, calling out the core issue. And another objection implemented in this framework is, I'm not sure if I need this, or I'm not sure if it's going to work for me. Here's how you can respond. The truth is, most people don't realize this until they start seeing what they've been missing out on. See how powerful that is? Right? So that is the entire SMART framework. If you want access to this entire doc for completely free, click the top link in the description. You join my free school community today, and you get access to this doc.